Wouldn't you rather give it all to something real?
When we met Cassian in Rogue One, he definitely introduced a bit more moral ambiguity into the Rebel Alliance. So what's it like for you to get to put this character into Star Wars with so many shades of gray and kind of see their whole evolution?
I think it's important that in Star Wars we also talk about the people, the real people. If you're gonna tell the story about a rebellion, you have to understand why a rebellion happens, you know? And that comes from the real people like you and I. The most interesting storytelling lives in the gray areas. It's quite nice to explore characters that are ambiguous and complex and contradictory. That just brings richness to the universe of Star Wars.
Let me ask about Mon Mothma at sort of this point of her life, because of course she knows the Empire is this awful thing. She's working against them, but she's right in the middle of them. How much pressure does she feel kind of having this balancing act at all times?
We're not used to seeing Mon Mothma in this environment. You know, usually she's surrounded by a band of rebels. In Andor, she is neck deep in Empire. She is living a life of an Imperial senator. She is quite a lonely, female, isolated voice advocating for democracy within Palpatine's Empire. It's not a happy place to be. She's come to the end of the rope in regard to believing that she can affect any change from within. And she realizes that she has to step out of everything that she's always known and risk it all to begin to build a rebellion.
Cassian and Mon Mothma are kind of on parallel tracks. They're not going to meet for a while, but we're seeing these different sides of this burgeoning rebellion, the different ways people are starting to fight this battle.
It's kind of interesting to see these two worlds, you know, parallel worlds rooting for the same, you know?
They're on completely different planets. Their lives are so antithetical to each other. Cassian's world is rich and textured and gritty, and there's muck and dirt, and Mon Mothma's is architectural and stark and imperial and cold and almost like a gilded cage.
It's also quite amazing because in Rogue One, even though you understand how important her character is and Cassian is, you don't get to know much about them. What triggers them to be so committed? And that's why I think this story is important and interesting to watch. The rebellion happens in every level, you know, because that's how oppression feels. The Empire is in complete control. People are marginalized. Freedom is not there for the most of the people. The rebellion is needed in the galaxy, you know, not in one community or in one planet.
There is no organized rebellion at this stage. Everyone has to find that seed of rebellion within them. And that's not just within the rebel side, it's also within Empire. The other characters, within their own sphere of influence, every character has to find their own rebellion. So it's far less black and white than we've ever seen it. We see people high up in Empire in this have to fight their own battles. No one has it easy. There is not a linear path for any of these characters. And for Mon Mothma and Cassian, I'm fascinated to see how we get to Rogue One.